This week's channel message from the angels may be one of your favorite messages I've ever channeled. It is an incredibly uplifting, probably the most exciting message I think I've ever heard about how to work with our own fear, about how we are protected regardless of what's coming our way. So, welcome back to my channel, you guys. I could hardly wait to share this message with you. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Ann Tucker. I am a trance channel. I channel from the angelic realm. I do that by going into a deep meditative state or trance, and from there I raise my awareness up as high as I can go, and then I stretch a little bit higher, and I connect at the angelic realm, and then messages, healing, information comes through, and I share it here with you guys on YouTube. And boy, do I have something amazing to share with you today. I love, love, love this message. I have been deeply immersed in this message. So before I dive into it, I have a story to share with you all about the message. So first thing, the one thing I wanted to mention before I dive in is to make sure that if you are not on my email list, I don't do a bunch of emailing. I'm not one of those people that does like, email a day. Not at all. I do maybe like if I'm doing great, I'll do 2 a month. I try to do an email every other week, and what's in those emails is like an update containing any videos that came out that week, so you kind of get them all in one place is what you'll receive. But it's 2 a month, and if I have something to tell you, I try to limit it to put it in those 2 a month, with the idea that I don't like to receive a lot of email. So hopefully that's respectful for you guys too. But the reason I mention it is so that I can reach you in the event that the channel, anything happens to it. So if you would be willing to join, I will post the link down below in the description box where you can join my email list. And if you would like to, as a thank you for joining my email list, you may come to my website, which is anntucker.com, and there on the front page, there's a free healing that you can receive as a thank you for joining that list. And it's a beautiful, what it is, it's one of the past peace bathing sessions. So it is an incredibly uplifting and beautiful healing meditation that's there for you, where you can experience the angels yourself, the angels I work with yourself in the process of the meditation. So I hope you take advantage of it. All right, you guys. So now I have to tell you about this message. So I channeled the message yesterday afternoon, and as I usually do, and it came through, and they were talking about fear and about how it was a message about how and when I channel it, I'm a little foggy. Like, I don't fully understand. I knew they were talking about things coming, and they were talking about fear, but I couldn't really wrap my head around it. I usually have to step away from it and then come back. So I channeled the message. I knew it was something about fear and they mentioned, I know they talked about how they would help us through fear. And that was kind of about it that I had grasped from the message. So we went out to dinner. And after dinner, it was close to this cute shop, and we walked by, and I was window shopping, and it's a beautiful shop. It's an expensive shop, and a beautiful shop, and I was oogling, and we're like, oh, we'll just go in, and I will like just touch the fabrics. You know how that is. Like, I'm just going to touch things. And so we went in, and the 2 ladies that were working in there were so awesome and so welcoming. And I was looking at stuff, and I was like, yeah, it's just a little beyond my budget. And they were amazing. These 2, and I was only going to stay for a second. These 2 ladies, they were like, oh, okay, just a minute. We're going to pull out. They said behind the scenes, they had this secret rack that was in the back. They're like, would you like to see our 40% off rack? We're just getting ready to send it back, like back to the manufacturer. Like, nobody else can buy this, but we're going to pull this. And that was the only thing that would have made me stay in the store. I was like, I'm just going to look and run, and because I was like, I don't want to be tempted. And they were like, the 40% off rack. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take a look at that. So they were super fun. These ladies were like fun and engaging, Debbie and Fatima. They were awesome. So they pull this rack out, and I'm looking and trying and they ask in the course of the conversation, like, what do you do? And I just blurt out, I channel angels, and Fatima begins this incredible story. And she says, this is a story she does not share. As a matter of fact, her coworker, his personal friend of hers, had never heard it before. And Debbie had never heard it. And Fatima begins to tell me this story about how when she was young, when she was in her 20s, she was coming here to the U.S. from France, and she had a young baby with her, an infant, And she flew in to Philadelphia, and so there was some issue with her passport, and she got put, like, customs wasn't going to let her through, and they were giving her the runaround and the rigmarole, and it took like 2 hours. And this was a late evening that she was getting in, and she, because of this, she missed her connecting flight. So she came finally, they released her from customs, but she was stuck. She missed her flight. There was no, like, all of the booking, like rebooking stations, they were like, sorry, there's no more flights tonight. We can't help you. And they basically shut down the airport around her. And like all of the restaurants were shutting down, and all of the terminal, like the help desks or whatever you call it had shut down. It's like 11:30 at night. And she's there with her infant baby. She has literally $10 in her pocket and doesn't speak very good English at this point. And doesn't know what to do. So she sits down, like, she has to feed her baby. So she finds a corner kind of over by, one of the ticketing desks. And she just sits on the ground, and she nurses her baby. And then she's there, and she's kind of crying, and she just doesn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden she looks up, and a woman walks over to her, and she's in the uniform. She's a ticketing agent, older woman, gray hair, short bob, she says. And the woman says, oh, are you okay? What's going on? And she tells her the story, like, I'm stuck and I don't have anywhere to go and I missed my flight. And the woman just says, it's okay. I'm going to help you. And she takes her over to a ticketing desk, and she says, wait right here. And she goes into the back, and she comes out a few minutes later with some paperwork, and she hands her a voucher for a shuttle bus as well, to and from the airport, as well as free vouchers for a hotel night. So she gifts her the shuttle that she needs and the hotel that she needs, and then she processes a new ticket for her for the morning. Says, here's your flight in the morning. You go take your tram. You have a safe place to stay tonight. Come back, and then in the morning, here's your flight. And Fatima is she's so happy, right? She's so overwhelmed. She reaches down, she gathers up her things, gathers up her baby. She stands up, and she can't see the woman. The woman's gone. It's almost like she figures that maybe she just disappeared behind a desk or something. She can't find her. So, but she's thrilled. She goes out. She goes to the hotel. She comes back in the morning, and she goes to the ticketing desk. She's refreshed and having a good night's sleep. And she gives the ticket to the lady, and the woman says, oh, well, who booked this ticket for you? And Fatima says, oh, well, she was here last night. She was one of the agents. And the woman says, there was no one here last night. And she says, yeah, it was around 11:30. She was, older woman, gray hair, described her. And the ticketing agent said, no, there's no one here by that description. We have no agents. There was no one at the airport at 11:30 at night. And we have no agents by that description. So she knows she saw an angel. She knows it, and I felt it in the moment. And she's been blessed by many other visions and dreams and communications from her guides. But it is a physical appearance where an angel came into physical form and helped her in a moment of need. Now, what is incredible about this whole experience of going to this, is that the message I channeled today is about how the angels will help us in our moment of need. And I could literally cry as I'm telling you this, because like as I got to the restaurant, we got the best parking spot. And this is like in a huge mall. And I pull in and I got the front parking spot, like the best in like thousands of parking spots, And I was guided to this store. And I would have never stayed if they hadn't been so engaging and pulled out the sales rack. And I bought a sweater. This is now my sweater from that store. I had to. After that story, I had to buy the sweater. So, and then she tells this story. And this is the angels at work. Because in the message today, what they're going to tell you is that they will be here for you in your moment of need. And you may not believe that, right? You might not take that into your heart and hold it as truth. So in order to prove it to us humans, they let me live it. They brought me to that store, to that woman, and to let her, she's never told people that story. And here she, all of a sudden, out of the blue, she asked me, she shares, it happens. I'm living the experience, right? I'm living this message in real life so that I can come back and tell you, it happened for Fatima, right? She had a physical experience of the angels, incredible, right? Where they helped her in her moment of need. So why not you, right? Why not us? And that is exactly what the angels are talking about in this message. So, okay, so let's go ahead and share it together. Are you guys ready?
Beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are beginning. We speak to you now on the topic of your concern for what is harmony within and without, for what is peace in your own world. We speak upon the topic of fear and the specter of what is to come. We wish for you to place yourselves adjacent to this reality, to assume that you are met equally in the new world and are held there in perpetuity ongoing. There shall not become from this year much that is peaceful or of recognition. There shall not last or endure from beyond this time much that feels was it was. There shall be infinite and particular changes that shall occur, and you shall linger upon the precipice of this great catapult into what is next for only a short time before entrance is made. We say that the great stoppage of workings is coming soon. The abundance of fretting and worry will afford you little guidance. And we say to yourselves to reap now the sense of yourself as someone who is protected. Feel in your bones that you have held in your heart the angelic realm always, and we will not forsake you. The timings of these orchestrations are undefined and yet will yield the promised shifting, which shall be made in tune to your heightened state of consciousness. It shall yield a difficult sphere of action and becoming in the coming moments that are ahead. We say to yourselves, do not brace for what is to come. Do not fear for what this earth shall yield. Feel only the journey that you are on. Feel only the self and the soul that you are. Know that you are an infinite, universal construct by yourself. You are infinitely held in the palm of God. You are holding the sphere of all that belongs to you within your own field. You may become, you may go on as you so choose. It is your choosing that is necessary. We speak to you on the brink of what fortitude will not call easy. We speak to you on the precipice of what is far from known. And we say to you now that your soul is not charged with suffering. Your soul is not condemned to pain. This is liberation to your sphere. This is freedom in the making. This is an opportunity to break free from what has held you within a construct that is unbecoming to the depth of who you are. We say, allow yourself to flow into what shall be known in the future. The unknowingness of this time period creates fear in the human mind, in the heart of one who fears they have much to lose. And we say that losing is an objective sensation of loss from your person and from your personage. It is the sense that you are blanketed by what is absence, what is solitude, what is non-belonging. The sense of loss reaps in its own world what is its due. It takes from you, you feel. There is much that must be let go of in the coming times ahead. But loss shall not become your nature. You shall rise into the spectacle of what is growth, what is performing the new nature of you. The loss of this realm shall be perceived as the richness of a new beginning. And we speak to you now on the terms by which you shall find and prove to yourself that you are making this transition. We speak to your heart, for it wants for gladness. It seeks peace. It wants a transference without difficulty. And we say that difficulty must be made, for there cannot be the rising of a new eternity without the destruction of the one that already exists. And within your hearts, we lengthen the knowledge of who you can be and how you can transfer into this new structuring. There cannot be loss where there is no suffering. There can only be letting go and the preparation for opening your arms to embrace what is new. The self as you are must choose, and choose rightly, the vista of your own happiness. Choose with the breath and the becoming who you shall evolve into. Do you wish to draw through and with you what has been painful, what has been suffering? Or do you wish to let go of these things? We say that the spectacle of what has seemed safety is most often handcuffs which constrain you into a statement of self that is diminished. The self as you are needs no safety, for you are an eternal being and have no fear as part of your eternal vision. Safety is a sense of self as in a weakened state, as needing protection. And you are none of these things. You are a being who flies into the heavens on the wings of angels. You are the heightened state of observance, of soul light. And you are this always. There shall be change and reverberations that you feel to the depth of you. And you shall at times feel overpowered by the breadth of these changes. But we say that you are in the process of this movement into a new understanding of your soul. We harbor within us the capability to improve your condition when needed. We harbor the trust you have given to be your guardian, to be where and when you do require safety. We are there. We are with you, and you may call upon us in moments of need, and we shall embrace you in the light of this guardianship, and we shall place ourselves at the feet of your destiny and allow yourselves to be blanketed in the light of the divine in protection when it's needed. We speak to you now with the understanding that you need no such protection, for you are a being of light, as we are. You incorporate the divinity that creates worlds. But fear settles upon humanity. Fear is felt despite our assurances. Thus we say to you, take heart. We are there with you. We hold you in an embrace that does not forget, and we keep you in the safety which you would beckon. We say to you now, listen and attune to the heartstrings that play for you. Know you are called into presence with where you should be. Know you are drawn into living where is best for you. Attend to the basic structures of self-preservation. Attend to the provision for yourselves of methods by which to keep water pure and free from virus, and foodstuffs at hand in quantities more than are needed within the next week. Contain for the self what are beneficial prospects, so that there is no urgency within these keepings and tidings that we bring. We say that you need not feel or experience what is new in terms of suffering. It shall land upon your heart in a state of gladness. You shall fear only when you are reluctant to release what was. And when you embrace with gladness the new truth of who you are becoming, you become at ease in pure thought and emotionality, where all things race through you into presence in ways that will astound you. We say that the fabric of this earth must untie itself, and you are in presence to observe. You shall regard this undertaking in two ways: as one of great destruction or one of rebirth. And this is your choosing. And should you prefer to live a life of ease, of peace, and quiet reflection, lean into the new. Trust what is becoming. Trust your heart and your soul to lead you onto the pathway of your own fruition. You can and shall thrive through the prospects of these great variabilities. And these transitions shall manifest differently in each region of this plane of existence. Know that you are guarded equally. All persons are held in harmonious quiet within the arms of angels. Know that all persons are welcomed into the new sphere of belonging, regardless of faith or disposition. All who are open to the perspective of I will, all who choose it, all who wish to, shall come within the framework of a new world. And this is opening. We say, fear not the great news of destruction. Fear not the great rumble and quickening. Know that you are provided for on this earth and otherwise, that you are held in our arms in all moments, and that your purpose here shall be fulfilled. You shall rise into the space of a new and generative humanity that creates for itself what shall become more full and more joyful. You shall experience this world in a delightful disposition that you do not come by easily in this world. You shall see with fresh eyes and know with fresh words what is the circumstances of joyful existence. You guys, this message is just getting me. Just absolutely gets me. And to have that experience last night of being in the message, of seeing it happen for someone in such a real way. Like, wow, wow, wow. Yeah, just absolutely amazing to me. So heartfelt and so real what they're telling us. And I think this was a message that, like, I needed that experience. I needed that experience with Fatima and her story to feel this message's truth. Like, I think you guys, I tell you all the time that I am a skeptical person. And for them to say, hey, like, yeah, tough stuff is coming, but you're going to be protected and we're going to protect you. Okay, well, like how? Like, how am I going to hear that? How is it going to show up? How are you going to protect me? Well, look what they did for Fatima, Look what happened. Look what they can do. And they're saying, like, these are different times that it's like the gloves are off. They can intervene. They can help us. And I believe they will. They've told us multiple times that as we shift, we will begin to see them. So they will be here for us. Yeah, incredible, you guys. Just an incredible message. I just need to take a breath after sharing it. It's just so much emotion and love. Oh my gosh, the love in this message, you guys. That's what's making me so darn teary. Jeez. Okay, so let's break down the message. You guys ready? All right, so let's go by paragraph by paragraph. So, and this one doesn't need quite as much. I mean, I think they were pretty clear in this message, and I think that was on purpose. Is they were really trying to speak to our heart, and so I think they were using as much as they could to try to get into the clarity for us, which I think a lot of you are probably grateful for. But let's go through it anyways. And here's what they say: we are beginning. We speak to you now on the topic of your concern for what is harmony within and without, so inside of us and in the external world. Where do we find peace? They say, for what is peace in your own world? We speak upon the topic of fear and the specter of what is to come. So this is really relevant for me too, because I just did an interview yesterday, right before this. Was it yesterday? Yeah, before this message, for a great show that I love, Michael Sandler's show, and in it, I channeled the angels, and they brought up some hard things. And afterwards, Michael was like, whoa, I can already hear the comments. Like, people, like, the concern was, will this inspire fear? And the angels, they always try to share, they try to tell us and be truthful with us, but they also, like, it's that idea of they don't tell us more than they don't go into the gory details. They give us the top line, the headline. They say, hey, this is a thing that might happen. And to be aware that could happen. They don't want us to be caught flat-footed, because humanity, when we get startled, when we find something really scary, where do we go? We go into fear. So they're like, okay, we're just going to give you the idea that this is a possibility. So when it happens, you've already had a chance to process it. You've already had a chance to bring that into your possibility of reality and to know that you're going to be okay, so that you won't be scared in the moment. You won't be thrown so far off balance that you can't respond. So that's the idea. So they will share certain things, but I think this confrontation with the potential for fear, and I think so they were sharing some of that, and they were trying to present it in a balanced way, present it with the reassurances, but this message drives it home. Yeah, so beautiful. So here, I think that's why the fear and the specter of what is to come. We wish for you to place yourselves adjacent to this reality, to assume that you are met equally in the new world and are held there in perpetuity ongoing. So I love that as an idea, that we can just choose. We can decide. I had that dream not that long ago where I was in this world. In the dream, I'm there, I'm making a decision, and I'm facing 3 different solutions, and all 3 have a compromise. There's like 3 good solutions, but each of one has like good sides, bad sides. And then all of a sudden, I just kind of look this direction and I see, oh, I can just swoosh into the new reality. And so I do, and I swoosh into it, and all of a sudden, I realize I can find solutions with no compromise, and everything is easy. And yeah, it was an amazing dream, like so cool, right? But I think that is that idea. They want us to just open up to the potential that we can place ourselves in an adjacent, and just imagine that that's available to us, and that when we need it, the angels are there to create magic for us. And let that be our truth. That's what they're saying here. Assume that you are going to be met equally in the new world and held there in perpetuity. So we may be still embodied here, but we're also living there, is what they're saying. We're spanning the two, and they're going to be, it's really interesting to say that, this idea that we're spanning between the two. It may be because of that the angels are taking a more active role in our well-being, which is so cool. Yeah. There shall not become from this year much that is peaceful or of recognition. There shall not last or endure from beyond this time much that feels what it was. So that is a beautiful and kind way of saying, and they've told us this several times, this year is full of change. There's going to be a lot of change on the horizon, and humans fear change. And so we have to know that. And that's why they're bringing this up now. Why talk so much about fear? Because that is how even though they've hilariously told us that we are the frequency of change, that we are change, and we walk into a room and we create change, we are afraid of ourselves. It's hilarious, right? It's like being afraid of our own shadow. And so it comes from us. We're like, what is that? It's chasing me. Like we are change, but we're afraid of it. And so they're telling us, hey, like, be prepared. They've told us this absolutely matches up with astrology. Like, we have how many, like a gazillion of the outer planets, the ones that are like the biggest, slowest moving, most potent planets, are changing signs this year. So, and it kind of happens sort of progressively throughout the year, which just de facto would mean there's going to be major shifting this year for each of us personally, and also for the world. So there shall be infinite and particular changes that occur. So infinite and particular, that means each of us, like small things, big global things, personal things, all over the place change, right? And you shall linger upon the precipice of this great catapult into what is next for only a short time before the entrance is made. So this sensation of the pace quickening and change quickening, we're on, and they're calling it a great catapult. I love that. It is, and they've talked about this and shown us this so many ways through healing, that when we go into these periods of enormous change or disruption, or when our lives fall apart, like how many of you, as part of your awakening, went through something disastrous that literally pulled the rug out from, and it's happened to me big time. Like my initial awakening was a divorce that came out of nowhere, that it was like rug pulled out from under my life, and I had to reimagine myself and my life and my everything, right? And my identity and everything. It's that, like when that happens, it's like all that energy gets released. All that energy, I was tied up so tightly in being who I was, it all had to break free for me to then have energy to create the new me. Right? Which I like much better. I like myself much more now than who I was before. And that is the idea here. So it is a great catapult. This period that we're going through this year, and probably into next year too, is a great catapult leaping us into. But it's like a short time right before entrance is made, short time before we really start to see these changes get faster and faster. They go on to say, we say that this is an interesting line. We say that the great stoppage of workings is coming. So that's a fascinating way of them saying it, because angels are angels, the great stoppage of workings. So I will tell you that they told me when I was channeling one time for myself, they came through and they said that there was going to be a lot of layoffs. And so that immediately I thought of this, the great stoppage of workings is coming. And I also think about, they've also said shipping would be calamitous. They've said that there would be banks may be closing, right? These are all things that currently are working that may not be working. So the stoppage of workings could be related to jobs. It could be related to structures in our world. It could be lots of things, which I know is a scary prospect. But one of the things I always return to when I think about that idea of, okay, the stoppage of workings, like if anybody is afraid of losing their jobs, what I think about is that we think of the Great Depression, and we see images of the Great Depression, and we see, the Dust Bowl, and we see people homeless, and we see people starving, and it feels like everybody was like starving in that time period. But if you actually look at the statistics, the unemployment rate during the Great Depression in the United States was 20%, which is huge. That's a lot. But what that means is that 80% of people still had jobs. 80% of people were still working. So what that means is there was still an economy, there was still trade, and there was still things happening, and there was still businesses, and so it puts it into perspective. And that was the Great Depression. That was like the worst of the worst of the worst, right? So when we hear there are great stoppages of workings, then put that into the perspective that that still means that the life will carry on. And the angels have told us again and again and again, life will continue, right? That we need to continue to invest in our lives. If you are a person during this next period who does lose their job, understand what it means for you. It means that you are opening up for the great catapult, and you are going to be catapulted into something much better for you. The minute you release, don't feel like losing the job was a loss. Feel like it was, wow, okay, what new beginning is showing up for me right now, right? This is going to be the catapult that we're being brought into, and call on those angels, right? Say, okay, I'm calling in my favors. Bring me something, bring me what I need. Bring me my protection. Bring me the support that I need. So, but that 80% number that is, I think it's very, very reassuring when we think about the stoppage of workings. They go on to say, the abundance of fretting and worry will afford you little guidance. And we say to yourselves to reap now the sense of yourself as someone who is protected. Feel in your bones that you have held in your heart the angelic realm always, and we will not forsake you. Right? So beautiful. The timings of these orchestrations are undefined. Yeah, they're coming soon. And yet will yield the promised shifting, which shall be made in tune to your heightened state of consciousness. So it's all purposeful, and it is bringing us into the great shift. It shall yield a difficult sphere of action and becoming in the coming moments that are ahead. So they're not mincing words. They're telling us, yeah, it's going to be challenging. There'll be some challenges that we all have to deal with, but we can deal with it. We say to yourselves, do not brace for what is to come. Do not fear for what this earth shall yield. Feel only the journey that you are on. Feel only the self and the soul that you are on. So, okay, I got to tell you guys a story about my daughter, who shall remain nameless because I want to respect her privacy. But I will just tell this story that she is in an industry where there's currently a lot of upheaval. And everyone around her right now is in a position where they could be losing their jobs. Like, it's very tumultuous for her, for a lot of her friends have been laid off. And she had been looking for a new job. She'd been, in one job and looking for a promotion for some time. And there were several jobs that she wanted, and it has taken her way longer to get a job than she literally just got an offer. And it took her like 6 months longer than she was hoping to be in a new job 6 months ago. It just seemed like she kept getting almost to getting a job and then would lose it. And she would be like, oh, we loved you in the interview, but I'm sorry, we went with someone else at the last minute. And this happened again and again. And there was another job where she was literally like, they had given her, the guy had called her and been like, hey, we loved you. You got the job. And then at the last minute, he calls her and said, oh, we are so sorry. We posted the job wrong, and HR is making us go back to the drawing board because we didn't post it legally or whatever. We have to repost it. And so you have to reapply again. And it was like she had thought she had the job. It was crazy. So, and then finally she gets this other job that comes through, which happens within the company in the industry that she works for is a protected status, right? And then all this stuff comes where all of a sudden there's all these, okay, we're not hiring anymore. We're letting a bunch of people go. If she had gotten any of those other jobs, including the one she almost got, she would have been laid off. All of those other jobs would have led to her not having a job now. The only job where she was protected is the one she just got, right? The one that she didn't even think she wanted until it came through and it turned out to be great. And it was the only one where she would have remained employed. So think about that. And she even said, Mom, she said, I feel like I was being thread through a needle. Like the only way she was going to make this through. So tell me the angels were not in that for her. And I always tell her, you are so protected, right? You are so protected. and so looked after. And we all are, right? We just got to open to it. We got to embrace it. We are all, guys, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Yeah. So I don't even know where I was. Okay. So that is the idea. Feel only the journey that you are on. Feel only the self and the soul that you are. In other words, whatever is going on, whatever choices other people are making, you choose for you. You choose joy. You choose love. You choose to have this relationship with the angels and believe that you can thread the needle, that you can make it through whatever circumstances you need to be protected. Trust that they'll show up for you. That's the idea. They go on to say, know that you are an infinite, universal construct by yourself, that you are infinitely held in the palm of God. And by the way, they use God because that's my word. God, I call source God. Please use your word. They respect all belief systems. You are holding the sphere of all that belongs to you within your own field. In other words, we create our own reality. You may go on as you so choose. It is your choosing that is necessary. So here is where this is the piece where we have to take ownership of where we're putting our attention, of how we are engaging our feelings and our emotions with our reality. They say, we speak to you on the brink of what fortitude will not call easy. Again, a gorgeous, beautiful way for the angels to say very softly and very lovingly. They know that change is hard for us. They're saying and fortitude means courage in the face of adversity. So they say, even for the courageous, they say that we speak to you on the brink of what your courage will not call easy. Even for the strongest of us, we will look at it and say, okay, this is hard, And they go on to say, we speak to you on the precipice of what is far from known. And we say to you now that your soul is not charged with suffering. Your soul is not condemned to pain. So this is really important. They're saying that even though there's great change in the world, it does not mean that we have to suffer or be in pain, right? We can choose. And it's really about turning away from fear and towards love. And that is the key. And I know, like, how do I do that if I'm in fear? They're telling us in this message. They're telling us how to do it. They say this whole experience we're going through, this is liberation to your sphere. This is freedom in the making. This is how we need to see this stuff. This is an opportunity to break free from what has held you within a construct that is unbecoming to the depth of who you are. So they're saying everything we lose, we need to lose because we have so much more potential inside of us, you guys. They go on to say, we say, allow yourself to flow into what shall be known in the future. So be in that flow, engage your feminine energy and be in flow. And don't feel like you need to know in advance. Don't feel like you need to predict. Like they tell us the general stuff. They tell us this is the kind of stuff we can be looking for. Now just be in flow and trust, right? The unknowingness of this time period creates fear in the human mind. In the heart of one who fears, they have much to lose. Wow. In the heart of one who fears, they have much to lose, right? If you don't have any fear, there's no sensation of loss. There's only change to something better. So they go, in the heart of one who fears, they have much to lose. And we say that losing is an objective sensation of loss from your person and from your personage. It is the sense that you are blanketed by what is absence, what is solitude, what is non-belonging. The sense of loss reaps in its own world what is its due. It takes from you, you feel. So they're saying loss is real, that there is the truth, that your experience is real, that when things are, when you have something that you miss it, right? When you feel that, what did they say, when you're blanketed by, where did I just lose it? I lost my place. Where is it? In the heart, blah, blah, blah. I'm up here. They're blanketed by absence, solitude, non-belonging. So these are sort of, you think about these things as absence. It's really related back to the concept of loneliness, which is an interesting choice for them to make, to talk about absence, solitude. It's about us being isolated as a soul. When we think about loss, we think about, yes, human loss. We think about the loss of people that are dear to us, and things like that. But we also think about loss of physical things, like a home, right? Or possessions. We think about, or money, or our living, or whatever, right? We think about safety, loss of safety. But they bring everything back to the idea of loneliness. to the idea that you're not okay by you're not okay by yourself, right? That sense of being isolated, that we cling to the things in our world because of that feeling of being alone, of being lonely. And we think we need these external things to support us. So I think it's interesting how they brought it back to that, because they would tell us, you're the light, you are God, you are the beauty of the universe, and you have everyone and everything inside of you. You're never alone. But we are humans, and we have this idea that we need to have these things in order to be safe. Yeah. The sense of loss reaps in its own world what is its due. So that is interesting. It reaps in its own world. In other words, the loss is a world. We've been living in a world that experiences loss, and in that world, it reaps what is its due. But we don't have to choose that world. That's what they're saying there. Beautiful. They go on to say, and we speak to you now on the terms by which you shall find and prove to yourself that you are making this transition, right? And that's a good one, because a lot of us may want to make the transition and worry that we're not, right? We may have a hard time bringing it into the body and feeling it is true. But they're saying that they're going to tell us here the terms by which we can prove it to ourselves that we're going to make it, that we're going to get to that higher state of consciousness. And they say, we speak to your heart. So that are the terms that are going to get us there, is to get out of our head and into our heart and into our feelings. That's how we're going to believe it. That's how we're going to be able to prove it to ourselves. We will not be able to logic our way to believing in angels. We are never going to be able to science our way into believing in the shift in consciousness. It's going to have to be through the heart, is what they're saying here. Yeah. They said, we speak to your heart, for it wants for gladness. It speaks peace. It seeks peace. It wants a transference without difficulty. And we say that difficulty must be made, for there cannot be the rising of a new eternity without the destruction of the one that already exists. It makes perfect sense, right? Especially because we have to free up the energy of the current reality in order to build the new reality. And within your hearts, we lengthen the knowledge of who you can be and how you can transfer into this new structuring. So they are working in our hearts. The information that we're seeking is not up here. How do we do it? They're giving us the information here. They're speaking to our hearts. So we have to listen with our hearts. Some people will say, how do I do that? It's through feelings. We have to listen by feeling, by turning towards our joy, by turning towards love and joy. That's how we navigate through this process, is when we have an experience of loss. When we have an experience of fear, it is about experiencing our grieving. We are meant to go through our grief. And then once we process our grief, we are meant to turn towards the phoenix rising from the ashes. See where the growth is. See what is blossoming. Look for it, right? If we look for it, it will appear. So that is how we do it from the heart. Turn towards the joy. Follow from, and don't try to logic or think your way out of it, because they're saying it's not going to work. They're not speaking there. They're speaking here. And they're going to be giving us the information we need from our heart. All right. So they go on to say, this is cool. This is what is loss versus what is letting go. They say there cannot be loss where there is no suffering. There can only be letting go and the preparation for opening your arms to embrace what is new. So that is the difference, right? If we have suffering, we have loss where there is suffering. When we just let go and we don't suffer, we don't make ourselves suffer. We just say, okay, I embrace it. We open our arms to embrace what is new. The self as you are must choose, and choose rightly, the vista of your own happiness. And here they included that, choose rightly. And I think this is coming from the place that so many of us feel we have, how we call it guilty pleasure. That we feel guilty for choosing good things for ourselves. We feel guilty for treating ourselves well. We feel like, oh, okay, well, I haven't earned it yet, or I'm not worthy. We have big worthiness issues, right? Which is ridiculous. And we know that, but it's hard. It's hard to get over. And so they're saying you deserve it. You deserve happiness, right? You absolutely deserve it. You must choose, and choose rightly, because you deserve it. The vista of your own happiness, right? Don't let any of the self, I'm not worthy, I'm not worth it, and blah, blah. Don't let that get in your way. Choose with the breath and becoming who you shall evolve into. Do you wish to draw through and with you what has been painful, what has been suffering, or do you wish to let go of these things? So beautifully said, you guys. I feel like this is so clear. And if you think about that, what they're telling us is that when we don't let go, when we dwell in the loss and we make ourselves suffer, then what we are doing is we are drawing that into our future. Whereas if we let go and we just open our arms and say, okay, I'm trusting that whatever I just lost is for the best for everyone involved. And I'm opening my arms up and I'm going to just grab hold of whatever phoenix is rising here. Then we let go of those things and we move into the new reality. Yeah. So amazing. And I love that they ask us the question, what do you wish? Because they're telling us it's our choice. We have to actively and consciously watch our thoughts and our feelings. And pay attention to where we're going. Are we heading into the loss, right? Or are we willing to let it go? Not bypassing it, processing the grief, and then opening our arms. We say that the spectacle of what has seemed safety is most often handcuffs, which constrain you into a statement of self that is diminished, right? So this is really shattering so much about how we have been conditioned. Right? That we have been conditioned that if you don't have a retirement plan, you are hosed, right? Oh boy, watch out, and that's safety. And we would say, yeah, okay, well, how am I supposed to get by? I don't know how it's going to evolve, but I trust that it will. I see the miracle happening in my own life. Last night, I saw it, right? I see it. I saw it happen in Fatima's life. So whatever it is that we lose, I'm not saying you're going to lose your retirement plan, but we don't know. We have to be open. We have to recognize whatever we encounter is a handcuff that it may have been constraining us to a statement of self that is diminished, right? And think about that. Think about the world that maybe you lose a job, and maybe that job was a 9-to-5 job or a 7 to 11 job or whatever it was, where you worked to the point where there was no space left for you, where it was all about feeding the machine, where you were working and you were, barely making it, and all that money went to just basically pay for life. And where is there room for joy? How do you find the joy in your heart if you're on this crank of machine, doing the thing and waking up again and again and doing more of the thing? And they're saying, okay, are you going to be sad if that job goes away? And I get it. If you're like, okay, well then how am I going to pay rent? Well, that's what we're going to have to ask. Okay, they're telling us this. I'm saying, I'm calling in the favors. If that happens, call in your favors. Call in the angels. But they're telling us that this construct that we live in, this world as it exists right now, with the ways of success, the ways we're meant to succeed in this world, it's a handcuff that's keeping us in a structure that does not permit us to grow in the ways that we are going to be growing. So, and that's how we have to start seeing it this way. The self as you are needs no safety, they say, for you are an eternal being and have no fear as part of your eternal vision. Safety is a sense of self as in a weakened state, as needing protection, and you are none of these things. You are a being who flies into the heavens on the wings of angels. You are the heightened state of observance of the soul light, and you are this always. So amazing. There shall be change and reverberations that you feel to the depth of you. And you shall at times feel overpowered by the breadth of these changes. So here they're saying, we get it. They're like, we see you. We know you're magnificent. We know you're incredible, and you don't believe us. And we understand that because of that, the scope of these changes are going to freak you out, is what they're saying here. They say, but we say that you are in the process of this movement into an understanding of your soul. They're saying, regardless, even if we are freaked out, they're saying you are still moving forward. Don't worry. Even if you're freaking out, you're still headed, you're still moving towards this heightened state of consciousness. Now they say, this is one of my favorites. This is where they start talking about how they have the power to help us. They say, we harbor within us the capability to improve your condition when needed. We harbor the trust you have given to be your guardian. You to be where and when you do require safety. We are there. We are with you, and you may call upon us in moments of need. And we shall embrace you in the light of this guardianship, and we shall place ourselves at the feet of your destiny, and allow yourselves to be blanketed in the light of the divine, in protection when it's needed. So think about this sentence, this part right here, where they say we place ourselves at the feet of your destiny. And this is the degree to which the angels love us, is that as they come into presence with us, they take on all of our crud, right? They are right here with us as we are going through whatever we are going through, and they say we will be not only with you, we will be in it with you, right? They are part of it with us. So they place themselves at the feet of our destiny. So think about that. That is someone jumping in front of a bullet for you. That's what that is. That is that person saying, I will whatever you're taking, I will take it. I will take it for you. I will take it with you. Amazing. Like that's the degree to which they love us. We hold you in an embrace that does not forget. And we keep you in the safety which you would beckon. And so notice they don't say the safety you need. They say the safety you would beckon. It's the safety we want. And they're saying they're doing it. Why are they doing it? Not because we need it. They're doing it because we want it. And that's why, which is incredible. They're doing it because they know that even though they see us as amazing beings of starlight, we feel scared, and they will help us because not because we need it, but because we want it. Just amazing to me. We say to you now, listen and attune to the heartstrings that play for you. This is where they're speaking to us, right? Know that you are called into presence where you should be. Know you are drawn into living where is best for you. So if you have questions, if you've been wondering, like, am I living where I'm living? Is it safe? If you're having those questions, listen to your heart. What does it tell you? And do not make a decision from fear. And they say that here somewhere. But don't listen to someone on YouTube who's like, there's going to be a giant, the world is going to be covered by water and you're going to die and blah, blah, blah. And don't listen to that. Listen to your heart. And does it say, do I feel at peace in this place that I'm living? Do I feel supported in this place that I'm living? Or would I find more joy living somewhere else? Do I believe there's another community in this world where I would feel more planted, more grounded, more loved? Then choose joy. But make sure, be very attuned before you choose to be here. And fear comes from here. Fear comes from us trying to logic a solution. When we go there, we're not listening to the angels or to ourselves or to our higher self. Yeah. So, yeah. But some people will feel that. Some people will feel the call to move. And listen to your dreams. If your dreams are showing you clearly, like, hey, here's it. What about Montana or whatever it is? And I just said that randomly. That wasn't meaningful. I just said that name randomly. But if you're feeling it, if you've been like wandering, then listen to your heart. So, where was I? I'm talking so much, you guys. I keep losing my place. Fear, you incorporate where? And then you come in need, and we blanketed, blah, blah. Now, where was I? We are there. We are with you, and you may call upon us in moments of need. We shall embrace you in the light of guardianship. And I read that part. We shall speak to you now and understand that you need, the light of the divine and protection when it's needed. So they go on to say, we speak to you now with the understanding that you need no such protection. For you are beings of light, as we are. You incorporate the divinity that creates worlds, but fear settles upon humanity. Fear is felt despite our assurances. Thus we say to you, take heart. We are there with you. We hold you in an embrace that does not forget. And I just read this to you guys already. And we keep you in safety for what we would now back. So forgive me. Okay, now next paragraph. Now I found my place. That's good. Okay, here we go. We say to you now, listen and attune to the heartstrings that play for you. Know you are called into presence with where you should be. Know you are drawn into living where is best for you. Okay, that's where I left off. Attend to the basic structures of self-preservation. And that means like the basic structures of self-preservation are like, think about like the Red Cross guidelines. And you can look that up, like Google Red Cross guidelines, and they will give you, like, this is their recommendation for what every household should have, regardless of where you are in the world, as just basic preparations in the event that there's any kind of anything that happens. And it's going to give you a good sense of basic structures of self-preservation. They say, attend to the provisions of yourselves by methods by which to keep water pure and free from virus. So they've told us all the time that we need to have a way to filter our water that does not require boiling. Because what if you're in a situation like, and I will tell you, we have heard from so many people who are in the fires in LA, because guess what? Their water was contaminated, but you need to look for yourself to find one that works. The biggest thing is you want something that doesn't require power and that filters viruses. And you can find camping filters and all kinds of stuff. There's so many choices you can have. But I just mentioned mine because some people ask what I chose. And I bought mine years ago. I know there's been a lot more that are new on the market since then. So you also, and then foodstuffs at hand in quantities more than are needed within the next week. In other words, you need to check your cupboard. I always say, even if you have a very, very tight budget, try to just get yourself like a big bag, the big bags of rice and beans. You can go to like a restaurant supply store and get them for almost the same price as like a small bag of rice and beans. Go, like if there's a restaurant supply store in your area, get a big one for yourself. And the thing is, they don't go bad. So just, and it's some people prefer other things, but I always say as a sort of a general idea, big bag of rice, big bag of beans, and it'll see you through, whatever comes, whatever you need in turn, it'll be there for you. Because they've said it's not that we won't have anything, it's that we won't have everything. So you would just have that as a backstop so that you have some choice, that you have something of your own that will kind of see you through. If you happen to need it, you may not. And if you don't, it's not going to go bad. So it's okay. You could just kind of work through it and then eventually replace it. So foodstuffs in hand in quantities more than are needed within the week. And they've told us many times, by the way, they don't want us to go into full on like freak out prepper mode because it doesn't put us into a good energy. That puts us into fear. And so it's really like just the basic, just get what you feel like you need. Feel like what's going to make you feel safe and then move on to think about other things. Contain for the self what are beneficial prospects, so that there is no urgency when these keepings and within these keepings and tidies that we bring. So that is the idea, is that by telling us this stuff, they're trying to keep us out of the feeling of panic in the event that there is something that happens in our area or our region. We're not going to feel like, oh, I have to run and go, whatever, shop with the other hordes of crazy people who are going to be freaking out at the store. It's like, no, you can be like, okay, I knew this was going to happen. It's going to be all right. I know I've got my rice and beans or whatever. I got my water filter. I'm going to be all right, and not freak out. And we're really trying to stay out of that sense of fear. We say that you need not feel or experience what is new in terms of suffering. It shall land upon your heart in a state of gladness. So in other words, no matter what is coming up, they're saying that for us, for you, because of the choice that you will make, it doesn't have to be an experience of suffering, right? It can be a thing where you feel that phoenix rising right in the middle of it. You shall fear only when you are reluctant to release what was. And when you embrace with gladness the new truth of who you are becoming, you become at ease in pure thought and emotionality, where all things race through you into presence in ways that will astound you. So this is part of that. They're talking about angel magic, is that when we do this, when we truly let go and we embrace what is new, they're saying we will become creative. We will be able to create a reality that things will generate from us in ways that they never have before. This is like that instant manifestation where it's like you will somehow create what you need, is what they're telling us, which is amazing. And they say it will astound, in ways that will astound us. We say that the fabric of this earth must untie itself, and you are in presence to observe. So that's part of what we're doing here, is we're meant to be part of the change, part of the shift, so we can experience it, right? To process it. It has to be processed. And processing it means experiencing it, just like emotions. We process emotions by experiencing them. You shall regard this undertaking in two ways, as one of great destruction or one of rebirth. And this is your choosing, right? That is, to me, is a very powerful sentence, right? You shall regard this undertaking in two ways, as one of great destruction or one of rebirth. And this is your choosing. So what will we choose? And should you prefer to live a life of ease, of peace, and quiet reflection, lean into the new. Trust what is becoming. Trust your heart and your soul to lead you onto the pathway of your own fruition, right? Amazing. You can and shall thrive through the prospects of these great variabilities. And these transitions shall manifest differently in each region of this plane of existence. So what I like about that part there is they're saying it's not just about surviving. You can actually thrive. And what does thriving mean to each of us? To me, it means that we continue to feel supported in whatever way that is. It may not be the way that we've been supported. It may be different, but that we will continue to feel supported and that we will grow, right? That we will feel more joy. We will feel more peace. That's what thriving is, right? That we will feel more connection. So we will continue. It's possible that we will thrive through this. And then they say that it's going to manifest differently in all regions. It's different for how it's going to show up for us is going to be different for every single person, because I'm sure our joy is different. What we need is different for every person. So it will show up differently as it's required by each region. Yeah, the transitions. In other words, the change that we see is going to be different everywhere. So it's not like there's one size fits all in terms of how to think about what's coming. And I love this new paragraph. It's really saying all are welcomed. It says, know that you are guarded equally. All persons are held in harmonious quiet within the arms of angels. Know that all persons are welcomed into the sphere of belonging, regardless of faith or disposition. All who are open to the perspective of I will, all who choose it, all who wish to shall come within the framework of a new world. And this is opening. So really, this brings me to how often do you hear people say, if you don't believe my way, then you're going to not be loved by God. You're going to go to the dark place, right? How often do you hear people say that? And I believe that is a twist of the truth. I think the truth is we have to be open. We have to release what was, and we have to be open. And when they say you have to accept, right? If you just stop what they were saying at accept, then it would be the truth. But they add on at the end, they add my way of belief. You have to accept my way of belief, which is not what the angels are saying. They're saying, no, you just cut it off right there. You just have to accept. We have to accept change is what they're saying. And so I think you can see where in different religious practices, they would have taken this message, which is we must allow and accept, and then they just tailored it to their particular, like, you must believe what I believe. You must believe in my structures and my God and my way of being. And you must, and otherwise you're going to the angels never say you're going to go to the dark place. They never, ever, 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 ever say that. They just say, right, that yes, there are different realities and we choose based on where we are leaning with our emotions and are we in our head or in our heart, right? Which we have control over. So, yeah. So anyways, but I love here that they're very clear, regardless of faith or disposition. So you could have the grumpiest person, and in the moment of this change, they could decide to choose love. And boom, there they go, right? They're off to the races. They go on to say, we say, fear not the great news of destruction. Fear not the great rumble and quickening. Know that you are provided for on this earth and otherwise, and that you are held in our arms in all moments, and that your purpose here shall be fulfilled. So no matter what ends up happening for each of us, trust that our experience is going to be one of love. And that is across the board, right? Even in regions that do experience devastation, even if there are people who experience loss of life, that trust that loss of life will be an experience of love. Trust that in the moment, that before any pain is felt, that person is wrapped in love and carried up into a higher state of being. And so across the board, right, we're meant to trust this. And they say, you are held in our arms in all moments, and that your purpose here shall be fulfilled. You shall rise into the space of a new and generative humanity that creates for itself what shall become more full and more joyful. So here they're referring to our higher state of consciousness, that in it we become the new reality. We are going to be exploring something very different. We're going to be exploring our abilities as manifestors, which is why they call us generative humanity. We're going to be conscious creators as opposed to unconscious creators, which is going to be a brand new ballpark, and it's going to be super fun, right? So, and it's going to be more full and joyful. They go on to say, you shall experience this world in a delightful disposition that you do not come by easily in the current world, in this world. So in other words, we're going to have a sense of just, it's like being in awe, like having that beautiful awe of like the new child, and a young child experiencing something amazing for the first time, that will have that delightful disposition, which is hard to find in the current world. And they say, you shall see with fresh eyes and know with fresh words what is the circumstances of joyful existence. And I hear that when they say fresh words, I think that is a reference to our creative capabilities, because words are such powerful creative tools. So yeah, with fresh words, we'll have fresh and beautiful creative words to use in the new reality. Oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah, I love, love, love. This may be my favorite message ever. I want to see what you guys are saying. All right. Hold on. You're saying, and where is it? Where I think I read that one. I have to refresh this. And then where is it? And then Emmy says, I find the more connected I become to spirit, the less I am being led by fear, and the more I lean into trusting that I am protected and will be led to where I need to be, or given what I need when I need it. I think I read that before, but it's a really good one, so I shared it again. Thank you, Emmy. All right. And then here we go. And let me go up to where I left off. And you're saying, yeah, Maureen says, best message yet. Totally agree. Amina says, I say that every week. That's so cute. Kim says, so true, Amina. And they just keep on coming with a magnificence. I feel it. I really do, you guys. I'm so glad you're here. We're here and we're sharing it together. I really am. Natalie says, I have been taking it all in my stride, but tonight I feel some fear. It's a beautiful message, but I already feel overwhelmed with life, health issues, financial issues. I know that I need to release it all and trust. And I feel for you, Natalie. And I know it's still a challenge, but it really does help to know, like, if you can lean into that sense that they're there for you. You know, maybe find more inspiring stories about angels stepping in to help, and just let that, like, just feed yourself that as a source of inspiration. Just keep, the more you surround yourself in it, the more real it becomes. So that's maybe what I would do, is if you're feeling the fear, is just maybe I think there's some books out there that have been written that literally just share people's angel stories, which are just incredible. I think there might be one of the, like, the chicken soup one or something like that, about like actual stories of people being helped by angels. That would be a great way to start to just kind of help you as you're trying to gather faith, belief in the fact that you're protected. Sharon says, not because we need it, just because we want it. I know, I love that. Yeah, the love and the message. I'm so glad. Anne says, it is absolutely incredible and such a great comfort. So beautifully conveyed. I agree, Anne. Thank you. Charlotte says that angels were created to work for us when we ask. Yes, yes, yes. I so agree. Andrew says, this is the community where I feel safe and joy and connection. Oh, I'm so glad, Andrew. Thank you for saying that. Marjorie says, this message makes me cry with happiness to know I am protected and loved. Me too, Marjorie. I'm so lit up by this message. Andrew says, just thinking the same thing. Yep, me too. And then Amina says, so true, because the angels are part of this group. Yes. Sharon says, are Berkey's good filters to have? I have Life Straws too. I like my Berkey. I do. I find it's good. Some people will have other opinions about it, but I've been very happy with mine. So, but you can read reviews and things like that, and then get a sense of it yourself. And I would check out a few other things, because, like I said, there's a lot more things on the market. Trisha bought a Berkey for van life and now have it at home. Very cool. Joyce says, canned foods like tuna, salmon, soups. Yeah, I agree. And feel into your heart what feels joyful for you in terms of when you're doing that shopping, what feels supportive and loving to you to have on hand. Shoka says, I have bags of raw nuts. I don't have to cook them. Oh, that's good. Andrew says, I felt stressed 2 days ago when I opened the last can of corn. Dory says, keep gas tanks filled, cash available. They have said that it's a very good idea to have cash on hand, but don't think in terms of like paying your rent, because that's not going to be the issue. Think small bills, like ones, fives, and tens, to do things like buy gas or groceries in the event that people are not able to do payment processing. That's when they talk about cash, is having small bills. It doesn't have to be a ton. Think about if you want to go buy a loaf of bread and you only have a 50 on hand, you're going to be bumming because they might not have change. So that's the idea. Melinda says, did the angels say a specific time, like in a week, or is that just that is, the week is just about how long to have, like you want to think beyond a week when you're thinking about how much food to have on. What they're referencing there is that most people only keep about a week of food in their house. And they're saying, think beyond that. Think that you need to think and plan to have food that would last you more than a week, is what they're saying. So, but they didn't give us, they're not, like, they just keep telling us that the things are going to speed up. There's going to be increasing change right now, that we're on the precipice of it, that we've already been seeing it, right? There's already been, like, they've been telling us, hey, look at, like, and then we had the crazy, what happened. There's been, like, just think about how much turmoil there's been in the last month, where we've had like 4 governments that have had massive, like, leadership transitions, and then, when we had the LA fires, and on the heels of, like, what happened in the American South, that we've had, there's so much chaos in the world right now. So, yeah. But we don't really know specifically, and a lot of it, they said, is like, one of the things they said just recently is that the flash of light comes when we are ready for it. Like that part of the reason they don't tell us specifically when is that it comes when we reach, like it's almost like a tipping point, right? When there's like enough humans that are in the right place to be ready for the flash of light, then boom, it comes. So every little bit of healing work we do brings it closer, you guys, because we get increased, we up the readiness radar for that flash of light. When it's almost like, imagine that like you have something that's going to change, like it's once you get enough of weight or balance, like imagine you have a scale or balance and you're filling up water on one side and then the whole thing flips. As soon as it reaches enough density of readiness, like it's just like we're filling up humanity, filling up, and then we're going to get to a point where all of a sudden it flips. And when it flips, when all of a sudden we've gotten to that needed tipping point, that is when the flash of light will come. And they can tell us we're getting close, but they can't tell us exactly how or when we're going to get there. That's sort of the best metaphor I can think of right now. Yeah. And Kim says, no need for hoarding, and we can share with our community. Absolutely. Yeah. As a matter of fact, like coming together in community, one of the best things that the angels have suggested for how to prepare for events of any kind is to start to create community around you, is to get to know people around you, get to, start to form connections. And that is a great way to learn to support one another. Yeah. And find resources in your local community for the things that you use regularly. Amina says, it's soon. Yes, exactly. Kishaw says, just amazing. Never disappointed. Thank you. Awesome. Amina says, who will not choose to be in the arms of the angels? Yes. And Ronnie says, and in my humble opinion, all I have to accept is that which resonates deeply within my heart. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. And let's see here. I lost my place again. Where is it? And then you're saying, fearing not is a daily practice these days, frequent redirection of thought and focus. Thank you for saying that, Karen, because that is really what it's about. Like it's that noticing when we have a fearful thought or when we've tuned in to some fearful information and choosing a different thought, right? Turning that off. Like if you're watching YouTube and all of a sudden it feeds you and you're like, ooh, like the world is ending, click. Like, no, okay, wait, I don't want to watch that. Turn it off, right? Yeah, Michelle says, every message is your favorite. Mine too. And Cindy says, yes, my favorite message so far too. Love this message, says Marjorie. I love it. And Anne says, absolutely feeling this love. Yay, woo. Okay, thank you for joining us, Anne. And Tricia says, immersing myself in painting and creating. That is a great idea. Leslie says, such a beautiful message, my favorite. Thank you, Leslie. Hey, John says, what did I miss? Was busy skinny dipping in one of my 2 neighborhood pools when the kids and gals started showing up. Didn't have any clothes or towels around, but luckily I had my work boots on in the pool, so used to what? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this was a dream. It is awesome. Oh, that's so funny. I love it. That is really, really great. Oh, yeah. And that's all about being seen in your spiritual, right? Letting your spirituality be seen. That is so great. Oh, what a funny dream. Neil says, thank you, Anne, for today. On another note, I hope your book is going well and more people are finding you. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And yeah, the book I am loving, right? The new book is very different. It's really about me trying to express my own healing journey, hopefully in a way that helps other people to heal, to share like what my patterns were and how I resolved them and how I figured them out and stuff like that, and trying to share my process of healing myself so that other people can apply that to their lives. Yeah. And then Anne says, it's such a motivation to take conscious and constructive steps in all areas of life. Yes, I agree. And Gina says, so love this message today. I no longer live in fear and welcome the new world that is to come. Yay! Oh, that's so beautiful. I love it. All right, I have to make sure because it's weird that Facebook doesn't like update the comments anymore and you have to do it yourself manually. It's so strange. So, and then Kim needed the laugh about John Street. It is totally hilarious. Can't wait to read it. Thank you, Anne. And we got 111 again. Awesome. So much love in today's message. And in this group, you guys are so amazing. I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming today and for sharing this message. It is just, I feel so uplifted and I feel so immersed in the angels today. I'm literally just going to float through the rest of my day. So I hope you do too. And I'm sending you guys tons of love. Please don't forget, if you would like to join my email list, which is really about in the event that any of our channels of communication, including YouTube, in the event that anything ever happens to the channel, it's a way for us to be able to stay in touch, so that I'll be able to communicate to you where I'll be posting or what the new channel will be, or whatever it is. Hopefully that will never happen, knock on wood. But I just like to have that as a backup so that we can stay in touch. And what I do with the email list, I send 2 emails per month, which will, and they're update emails. So one will have a listing of all of the videos that came out that month, so you can, with a summary, so you can kind of scan through and see what you missed. So it's actually very useful. So anyways, I will share the link, and so you can sign up for that email list, and I will absolutely respect your privacy and will not inundate you with email. Sending you guys tons of love. Have a great week. See you next time. Bye, you guys.